All right, lads, welcome back to another episode of the ShiteTalk podcast. We are here for episode 20, and it's a bit of a milestone. We have made it this far without being cancelled, which is, always good, especially in 2021. This week was supposed to be conspiracy theories, like myself and Grievach were just saying before we started here. The last week or so has been fucking wild in terms of college work. Both of us are absolutely flat out. So, if we want to make a good conspiracy theories episode, I would have had to do. I was going to say a lot more research, but I didn't do any research, so I would have had to do some research. But we didn't get a chance to do that, so that will hopefully probably be the next one. Grievach, man, how you doing, man? You're living.
Yeah, I'm good, lad. I'm good. Like I said, just tipping along. You know yourself, suffering, swamping through the mud of college work and all this shit, same as yourself. But overall, not too bad. Not too bad.
You had a little bit of exciting news this week, I believe.
Oh yeah. So, drivers of the world beware, because Grievach now has bought himself a car. We're taking the channels on the road, so beware, everyone else. But yes, I agree. Grievach has bought himself a lovely car. He's quite happy with it now, I have to say. It's a bit of a better one than I thought I would get. So yeah, but an interesting story, mate. This morning I sent away I was getting all my forms and shit sorted out, right? And you have to fill in this form basically, and it's like, you spell your name and they bring it back and it states certain things and all this stuff, right? My surname is Grievach, right?
Yeah.
We spelled it out for them and we made it very clear, the spelling of Grievach.
Yeah.
And we were thinking to ourselves, they don't understand it. It is Grievach. They come back and now I'm called Jack Seagrass. Instead of a G, they put a C, mate. They put a fucking C instead of a G.
Oh,
I have to send it all back. I have to resubmit it. It's an absolute shit show because they fucked up one letter pretty much. So
that's peak.
That's what you love to see that, really. You really do love to see that.
That's an absolute nightmare, to be fair. But I know your name is quite you don't see it every day. You don't see a Grievach every day. But
no.
If you spell it out specifically on a form, there's
very little way
if they can't spell it right after that.
I mean, even if you put it into if you're doing it on a computer, I'm looking at mine, and the G and the C, they're not beside each other. Let's be real here. So I don't know what they've done. Anyway, look, it's on them. But yeah, overall, quite happy with the car itself. So
yeah, exactly. We're bringing ShiteTalk on the road very soon, lads.
Yeah, all the channels, everything's going on the road.
We'll be visiting every single city in Ireland to do a little podcast, just in the middle of this fucking street or something.
Yeah, we just go to a bar and sit outside with our food and shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it does open up the possibility of, we want to do exploring videos.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, there's that aspect of it as well, which I'm sure we will look at when the time is right. But yeah, no, pretty exciting shit.
Yeah, exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. I gotta say, any other big news apart from that from yourself this week?
Not major. I mean, I think I've been called back to work literally just before the podcast started. I actually got an email from my supervisor with the rota for when we're returning to work. So
that's good.
Pretty interested in that. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, other than that, nothing really major, mate. What about yourself? Is there anything major happening with yourself? Just to raise eyebrows, oh shit, wait till you hear this.
I'm prepared an answer for this. Yeah, no, like yourself, mate. Just kind of finishing off college assignments, trying to get back on the YouTube grind. I kind of took a bit of a break for a week because I was hanging in the middle of assessments and stuff. Kind of came back with a couple of big videos. I think it's fair to say a couple of verdicts that were enjoyable. But I suppose the biggest news for me of the week has to be Chelsea making it into the Champions League final, mate. That has been definitely the biggest thing. It still hasn't really sunk in yet, if I'm being honest. The fact that Chelsea are in the Champions League final again. Like, how we wouldn't have been predicting this at the start of the season.
No, I will be honest with you, mate. I didn't see it coming, but fair play to Tuchel.
Yeah, absolutely elite. But yeah, apart from that, any other news? Not really. I think, like you, man, I think this summer I need to start. I need to get me fucking arse in gear and get this fucking driving license sorted and all that kind of stuff, because that's like that is the big goal for me at the minute. I believe you were going to break the news to me on the podcast, weren't you? And then it kind of got spoiled on me. Like,
yeah, so it was this. Look, we won't name drop anyone because obviously it's not as serious. Like, I'm pissed off, right? But ideally, the plan was to like tell Kelly on the podcast, get a live reaction to having a car. Unfortunately, it did slip out. Word of mouth got around, and unfortunately, it wasn't possible. So, if the person is watching, no hard feelings. Don't feel bad. It just would have been a bit ideal, but anyway, we moved. It's all good. It's still worthy of the pod anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think what makes the fact that I found out even matter, I broke my phone Thursday morning. Basically, it was in the bin anyway. I've had it since 2017, mate. Like, I've had this Huawei phone for the longest time, and it's been starting to slow up on me. And then, yeah, I don't know what happened. It just completely conked while I was in class on Thursday morning, and yeah, I got myself a new phone. If that's newsworthy, one that actually works for once, so that's decent. I did have another thought, mate. Danny mentioned this to me, right? I've stuck it down in the old notes for this week, right?
Here we go.
It's just an idea, right? That I want to throw out there, right? Danny basically suggested that we try and get a sponsorship for the podcast, right? Of Chef Chip Shop Curry. Mate,
lads. Listen, if you don't know, get to know. Chef Chip Shop Curry, boys, is not just for chips. It's not just for your bang hours. You have these ones where you mix in water and it gives you a sauce, and it's dog. Forget about it, right? If you're somebody who eats ketchup with your chips, you're wasting your life. You are literally wasting your time. Chef Chip Shop Curry, boys, is the way to go. You can have it with chips, you can have it with chicken, you can have it with a roll, you can have it with an ice cream if you wanted. Doritos, it's been tried and tested by myself. It's questionable, but it's decent. So yeah, Chef Chip Shop Curry. Look, lads, if you want to get on to us, we have our contact information. We'll set up the old email, contract negotiations, whatever needs to be done.
I can't lie. I actually tried finding an email address for I can't find. I only spent about 5 minutes looking, but if I actually go on to maybe their Twitter, or if they have a Twitter, do Chef have a Twitter? I wonder.
I will do a bit of. I'll investigate if you want, and I'll give me 5 seconds. We'll have a quick search.
Yeah, so basically, Danny made this suggestion to me, and at first I kind of laughed at him. Then I kind of thought, oh, you know what? We really did big it up on one of our most recent episodes, and I was like, do you know what? It would be great if we're getting paid for this. Like, we're giving them free fucking publicity here, and when you do that, you expect to get a little bit of the old cashola. But we're doing it for free. So maybe I don't know why I said that. For me, I think it could be done if we found an email address and say, look, lads, you can pay us in curry, and we'll promote your business.
I mean, look, he says it himself, lads. I'm happy to take the curry sauce if it's gone. Could you imagine me fucking being known as the lads who just get paid in curry sauce?
Imagine you have all these other podcasts. You have all these other podcasts. Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by NordVPN or Raid Shadow Legends or fucking Manscaped. ShiteTalk podcast brought to you by Chef Chip Shop Curry. Like, I think that sounds elite.
It's elite. It is. There's no one out there who can tell us that's not elite. If you're Irish, you can't say anything. It is elite.
Imagine sticking that in the old Twitter bio as well. Sponsored by Chef
Chip Shop Curry.
Hey, what? There's options there.
I have a telephone number.
Oh shit. Well,
Yeah, I can't seem to find an email. Unless
Okay.
unless you want to email us, lads, come to us with whatever you want.
I'll set up a ShiteTalk email and they can email.
They have literally everything but an email that I can see anyway.
They have a social media page, do they?
Yeah, they have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay. Well, listen. I'll tell you what I'll do. All right. I will once we finish here today. Maybe I'll finish here today, but like when I get a chance, I will drop a message to Chef. Yeah. And if they don't follow up, I will do the deed and give them a call.
Oh,
I actually will. I actually
oh
will
no!
as well.
Oh god! Oh lord!
Imagine if they're just laughing at me. They're just laughing at me. They'll be like, "What the fuck?"
The phone number to some receptionist, and it's like what's it called, HR. I'm like, oh, you've complained about our sauce. Like, no, actually, I want you guys to sponsor us, and we will pick up your sauce on a podcast.
Yeah, like, listen here. I want to speak to your manager.
Put Chef on the phone right this minute.
Put the chef, like the guy that's on the bottle.
Mr. Chef, I want to speak to Mr. Chef.
Oh god.
Do you know what, mate? I don't actually think that's a bad shot. Like, it's not beyond the realms of impossible, if we're being serious.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. It'd be really funny if it did. Like,
I mean, I'm up for it. I'm definitely up for it.
Just for the meme more than anything else, like, even if they just pay some
exactly.
Oh my
sweet
god,
Jesus!
Oh god, right.
What a start! What a start!
Yeah, just putting our fucking name out there for sponsorship. If any brands do want to sponsor up that aren't Chef either, I mean, let us know either.
Definitely.
Let us see. Okay, I stuck down this. We can cut this if you want, mate. Right, but I put down the incident, that the text you sent me the other day, the request you sent me.
Which is that now?
The Barbie incident.
Oh Lord, shit.
Can we talk about this or?
Sure, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Okay,
it's no sweat off my back. I'm not the one who asked. I'm not the one who asked if I can put that in
So basically, lads, a couple of days ago, I got a text off Rebatch, and we kind of send each other requests every now and then to help each other out with college projects and stuff. I've had a couple of radio projects this year that I've got Rebatch to record a little voice note for me and send it off, and I'm sure I've done something. Maybe I have. I sent you a sprinting video that time.
Yeah, you did it for the biomechanic assessment thing or analysis.
Yeah. So we help each other out with college projects a lot of the time, yeah. And I get this message from Rebatch the other day. Well, I can't remember exactly what you said, mate, but it was something along the lines of, "Can you send me a voice note of you saying, 'Barbie, please behave tonight,' or something like that." And I can't lie, mate. I can't lie. I read that and I was like,
he's
what?
taking the piss.
I was like, what is he talking about? And then all of a sudden, a voice note from you comes in, like, directly after. Before I even get the chance to respond, you send a voice note. You're like, "Aaron, I know this sounds like a wind up. It really isn't. I'm really sorry. A friend of mine wants you to do this, or needs somebody else that's not me to do this for some, what was it?
It's an animation screenplay thing.
Right. Okay. So it was that, and I had to read this line into the mic in like a really piss taken tone, and it was really bad. It was really bad. And Greenbatch on the voice note was just like, "Aaron, I'm really sorry. I'll make it up to you someday."
Like, honestly, lads, you don't understand. Like, it actually was peak having to ask your best mate to say that voice, like that line alone, like, and not look like it's something dodgy. Like, it just
sounds dodgy as fuck as well.
Like, the thing is, like, as well, shout out to the person who's doing this as well. Like, she was very grateful for that. I forgot to say that to you. But yeah, she was just like, because I had basically, boys, I had done a lot of the voice and the voiceovers for this person, this mate. And we had another line that needed to be said, but it was a different person. It was a different character. So she was asking me, can I change my voice? And I couldn't do that apparently because I have a very specific voice. So no matter what I did, it just sounded the same. So unfortunately for Mr. Kelly, I had to enlist in his expertise. And look, it came out where we needed it, and it's done now. It will be burned.
As long as it came out, the way it had to. That's all the really like. The biggest issue was if I had to record it a second time, that would be the worst. It was bad enough having to do it once, but look, I was happy to help. I was happy to help. I was happy to help, but that was peak. It was really funny though. It was a very bizarre moment when I seen that that fucking message come in from Jack. It was just like my reaction was just like, what is he talking about? Is he lost the fucking plot?
This is not Jack, like.
Oh mate, it was so funny. But look, lads, I think this goes to show the levels, we go to help a mate out. You know what I mean? Like
that's it.
We're up for taking the piss out of ourselves and just let's just hope that voice note never gets out though, because
I've asked it to be destroyed once it's done. All the voice notes should hopefully be destroyed, and they will never resurface. Hopefully, I will be double checking as soon as I can.
To be honest, if it gets out, I don't really give a shit anyway, man. To be honest,
there's no way it can be identified to you realistically.
Kind of, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I was literally there, geeing myself up for ages trying to do it, and I was like, all right, Danny, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it, right? And you're going to make me do it. Don't let me stop. Don't let me stop doing it. Yeah. Anyway, funny times. Let me see. Okay, what else we've got? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk about a bit of football, shall we?
It's customary for us on this channel to talk about football.
It is. Obviously, it's a big week. It's been a big week in European football, and I guess we'll start off with the Champions League then, and we all seen my initial reaction. Maybe not everyone has, because the video did absolutely flop, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone's seen my reaction after the game, after Chelsea beat Real Madrid, and we'll face Man City. What is your thoughts going into that final, mate?
I mean, look, I think everyone. I heard one of the pundits say, I think it really summed it up for me. If it was Frank Lampard's Chelsea going up against City, I think City would plough them. Unfortunately, I just think what Tuchel's done. Tuchel's come in. I can't describe what he's done. You probably will be able to explain a lot more than what I will. But I just think, I mean, even recently when they played City in a cup game, wasn't it? They played City.
Yeah, FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, they beat City in the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, they look good. They look solid defensively. They weren't, what's the word? They weren't fearful. Like a lot of teams when they play City, they sit back or they try to be over aggressive and press them in the first, 5-10 minutes and end up going 2 or 3 goals behind in the first half. But it's hard to explain. It is difficult to call. I think City are definitely, I think against Paris Saint-Germain, they really showed, Paris Saint-Germain, we can both agree, lay down and died for pretty much the 2 legs. I think City are good. I think Chelsea. Is there a bit of more hunger there from Chelsea? Would you say to try and get it done? City have been here before, more recently than Chelsea. You can argue. Tuchel, you can argue, is a point to prove, but it would be massive for Chelsea as well to do it. Obviously, Guardiola is hugely motivated when it's like one he really, really wants to win at City. But I don't know, mate. I have a funny feeling Chelsea are gonna I'm gonna go 2-1, and then Kelly's shaking his head. I know, but I'm going 2-1 to Stamford Bridge, Les Blues, Chelsea.
Jesus Christ, mate. Look, I think you were saying you're kind of struggling to describe what Tuchel has really done since he's come in. I think it's fair to say he's just brought that bit of belief back within these players. You looked at the squad that Frank had, and you look at it and you say, yeah, that is a really strong squad. But Frank had only got a year or 2 in management. He had the year with Derby, then he did really, really well, exceptionally well, to finish 4th with Chelsea in his first year. And then shit just hit the fan. I think it just came down to a lack of experience. Obviously, when Frank got sacked, I was absolutely devastated. But looking back now, you can't not say that the sacking, was justified. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely, like, totally justified. Thomas Tuchel has experience. Like, this is his second year in a row in the Champions League final. He was here last year with PSG, and he's just made everything about our team better. Like you said, you kind of alluded to the hunger is back. The defensive quality of players like Christensen and Rudiger are really coming to the fore. World-class players like Kante, like man of the match in both semi-finals.
Oh, he was unbelievable in that game. Everything he intercepted, he could read everything.
Yeah, like to get man of the match in both semi-final legs against Real Madrid.
It says a lot.
Fucking unbelievable. Like I know Real Madrid aren't the force they used to be. Like they really aren't, and I think over the two legs we've seen that. But there's something really. There really is something special about this group of Chelsea players now. There really is something different. Like the togetherness. Like you see when Mason Mount scored that goal, everybody rushing to the corner, jumping on top of him, and you can just tell these players. I don't know, mate. There's a different hunger and drive within them. Can they beat Manchester City though? I don't know yet. I'll probably hold off of my prediction until a little bit closer to the time. Because Manchester City are a fantastic team, like unreal.
Yeah, and I fully agree with what you're saying as well. There, it is a case of like there is hunger back in that Chelsea side, and there's definitely a sense of passion as well. We can see, like you said there, about everyone celebrating the goals. Even a leg beforehand, where there was like 3 players injured. There was Mount, there was Thiago Silva. They were all up in the stands, and they went absolutely mental when the goals were scored. Like there really is a sense of like strong unity in that squad now. And like you say, whether that's down to Tuchel or whether it's just the team finally gelling after all this time, it remains to be seen. That is, I suppose, the big question. Like you say, though, can they topple City? Because as far as I'm concerned, I would definitely put City, as it stands, probably in the top 3, if not the best team currently in Europe right now. And that is obviously what you want to see. Like, I suppose if you're a Chelsea fan, if you're talking about progression, you want to be able to see, can Chelsea now do it on the biggest stage in Europe against one of the best teams? Can they topple it and maybe say to themselves, now we've won the Champions League, it's time to push on, think maybe more domestically, and it's obviously getting back to those former days of glory. I suppose that is the real test now and the real mindset that Tuchel and his Chelsea lads will be thinking.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, and you kind of have to realize, how have Chelsea got to the Champions League final? Like, you'd have to say it. Like, if you look back in January, if you told me back in January when Frank was still in charge and we were really struggling, that Aaron, come May, Chelsea are going to be in the FA Cup final, 4th in the league, and in a Champions League final against Man City, I just told you to fuck off, basically, because I wouldn't have believed you. Because like. It makes no logical sense on paper, but like I don't know, when you gather this sort of momentum, and obviously a new manager brings that in, and I feel like this momentum that we have has certainly been threatened ever since when we lost to West Brom at home.
Yeah,
that's when I thought the wheels might start coming off. But to be fair, we've just been able to pick it back up, and now we find ourselves having absolutely, let's be honest, battered Real Madrid in a Champions League semi-final to play one of the greatest sides that the Premier League has ever seen in this Manchester City, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Like, we might do a bit more of an in-depth breakdown kind of prediction closer to the time. I did have an idea that we watch the final together when it comes around for a video.
That's what I was about to say to you there, mate. If you want, we could totally do a live reaction to the Old Champions League, which I think would be pretty sick. I think that'd be, if it's possible, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, because your team being in a Champions League final don't come around too often. Do you know what I mean? And you know, you don't know. Like it doesn't come around every year. It might not even come around every half a decade. But bloody hell, like you know, when it does come around, you got to savor it. So that might be a thing we do. Probably on my own channel. We'll see. We'll you know
definitely.
We'll look into it closer to the time to see if we can get a proper setup to watch the game live and give you guys our reactions. Before we move on to your team, Manchester United, obviously qualified for the Europa League final. I do want to make one more point about the Chelsea game, and I want to know your thoughts. Eden Hazard, right? So he's coming under a lot of scrutiny. He's since come out and apologized because he was seen after the game not celebrating, but smiling, laughing, joking, congratulating his former Chelsea teammates for getting to the Champions League final. And the media attention that this has got in Spain has been unbelievable. What was your thoughts to the fallout of that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, have you seen the I can't remember what it was. It was memed on TikTok, but like Spanish reporter, and they were obviously looking at the incident, and like there's like all happy music, and it just cuts to like really dramatic.
Said the elbow,
dramatic ass music, like, and it's like they want to fucking kill the lad. So my thoughts on it is, look, I will say this: it's a very difficult situation for poor old Aiden. I mean, you have to put the only way I can say is if I put myself in that position and say, now this will never happen, boys, because you know my ties are strong with the club. But say I played a final against the lads of Keene United, for instance, and I have just lost and been knocked out, and they won the final. I'm not going to go over and congratulate, you know, Kelly and the rest of the lads. I do think, though, it captured him at a very bad time. Like him smiling away, doing his old handshakes with all his mates. It does look bad. However, I just think that the media have blown it so far out of proportion, in my opinion. I think, and obviously they would, you know, it's the story, and they're trying to get the attention on that. I mean, like I said, personally, obviously, if you lose a final, it always hurts. It definitely didn't look like it hurt Aiden too much.
No.
Like I said, they've captured him at a bad time, but at the same time, I can totally understand, you know, why they've caught him like that.
Do you think the reaction would have been different had Hazard had an unbelievable 2 years at Real Madrid and he's been injury-free and he was playing unbelievable? Do you think the reaction would have been as harsh? Because personally, I don't think it would have been.
No, I agree with you there, mate. I definitely agree with you there. I think because he's had such a difficult time at Real Madrid, and he's obviously came for the money he's come for, and he hasn't really given the same Eden Hazard we saw at Chelsea. I think there was definitely a magnifying glass on him for a while. And like you say, when a player under that like pressure, you know, you do something like this, it's obviously going to come down on you like under a lightning, pretty much.
Yeah. And as you said, you know, you've no issue with him congratulating and having a laugh and joke. Now you look at it, it was Kurt Zouma. He was like, Kurt Zouma was one of the funniest lads in the Chelsea squad. Like he's obviously going to have a laugh and joke with him. Azpilicueta, he had a nice hug with Azpilicueta as well. You know, he was there. I think he signed literally the same transfer window as Azpilicueta. So, you know, they were at Chelsea. You know, they arrived at Chelsea at the same time. And you know, maybe in hindsight, he should have done what he did when he got back into the dressing rooms or behind closed doors or something like that. Or maybe with the COVID restrictions, maybe they're not allowed to even do that. Maybe it's just a case of, you see, the Real Madrid players and opposition players come in to Stamford Bridge these days from behind the Matthew Harding end, like down as the camera sees the right-hand side. And obviously the Chelsea players come out through the tunnel. So maybe it was a case of, well, when the players go off the pitch, that's it, they don't see each other, sort of thing. And maybe Hazard felt that, you know, this is my only chance to really, you know, congratulate the boys in person. It does look on the face of it a bit of a Gareth Bale incident where he doesn't seem to give that much of a shit about the club. But the media outburst in Madrid are making it out as if he's killed a man. Realistically,
That's exactly what he's done. It's like they are literally saying, find this man and exile him.
Yeah, but to be honest, I look at Eden Hazard and I think, when he signed for Real Madrid, like I don't think the relationship was good from the start, if I'm honest, because when he signed, the way Barcelona and Real Madrid, I think they're the only two I can think of that really do it. When they make a big signing, they have all the fans come into the stadium and they get the player in and does a few keepy ups. They basically announce them to the fans. Obviously, did it with Ronaldo, Real Madrid. They've done it with Kaká, Bale, Modric. They've done it with everyone. But when Hazard signed for Real Madrid and did that, you know what the fans were chanting? They were chanting at him.
No.
We want Mbappe. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Seriously.
Yeah. So, I don't it's not been a good relationship from the start. That's so disrespectful. It really is.
But exactly like you say, man, that's outrageous. And fairness I get, I know Madrid fans are very much, Madrid, and they'll die for that club if they have to.
Bastards.
But God, I imagine your new signing, and Eden Hazard's class. On the time he left Chelsea, he was class. He was definitely one of the best, if not the best, Premier League player at Chelsea at one point in time. To start chanting that you want a different player who, let's be honest, was never going to leave and move to Madrid. I don't think. Well, maybe I could have seen it going, but not at that time anyway. I don't think.
Maybe someday, but maybe that was 2019.
Yeah.
Think about it, he still would have been quite young.
Yeah. No, I that's outrageous, mate. Now, and being honest, and so you act surprised then when this sort of thing comes out, and there's bad player relationships. I mean, what do you expect at the end of the day? If that's the fan base and that's where the reception is it any wonder why Madrid are in the bin? Is there any wonder why you don't really see too many big players nowadays going to these clubs of Barcelona, Madrid? Now, whether that's down to rebuilding job or financial issues at the club, that's the other side of it. But as a player, if I had been told that and I was offered a deal, you turn it down straight away, mate, because you're just going to be ridiculed. And if you don't play at the levels of Mbappe or their former glories, Cristiano Ronaldo, you're going to get slated. And I just think it's outrageous, like you say.
Yeah, and Real Madrid, with the history that they have of signing big players, or Galacticos as they call them, it can go one of two ways. It can go the Ronaldo way, where he's absolutely unbelievable and the fans love him, or if they don't reach. See, Ronaldo's the benchmark now. So if anyone don't even come close to that, they're going to get rid. Gareth Bale, for the time he was in Madrid, he had some unbelievable years with Real Madrid, and yet he was still criticised. He won them Champions Leagues. He scored in Champions League finals for them. The bicycle against Liverpool in 2019, the bloody header that he got in his first year against Atletico in the final. This man has scored some massive goals. His goal in the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona. I can go on forever about massive Gareth Bale moments at Real Madrid, and yet he still got ridiculed. I think James Rodriguez is another example.
Oh, definitely.
Coming off the back of an unbelievable World Cup with Colombia, he comes in and maybe doesn't quite hit that form that he was in the World Cup. And look at him now; he's at Everton. Do you know what I mean? With all due respect, he's at Everton now, and he's still an unbelievable player. Do you know what I mean? But he was ridiculed.
No, I think you're dead right, man. And I think anyone, lads, if you want to actually educate yourselves, look up Gareth Bale's goals or compilations. There was one on Twitter there I saw a while ago. I think yourself or Danny retweeted it, and it just goes to show, these players are good players, but if you get ridiculed and you don't fit at the club and it's not going the way it wants, you lose these class players, for nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, Kaká.
And they go on to a different club and they do better now. Gareth Bale, you could argue, maybe hasn't had the most productive loan
no.
at Tottenham.
It's all right,
but like you say, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. See, like he's done better than he would have if he'd stayed at Madrid. For being honest, like,
Yeah.
like I say, James Rodriguez as well, another one who's gone to Everton and is, he's not. Again, he's not world class, but he's still really talented footballer. Right? Like, do you know what I mean? So, say,
Yeah, I was just about to say Kaká was another one as well because he signed in the same window as Cristiano Ronaldo. So obviously, straight away he's in the firing line because it's like you've signed. Like he was a former he was the last Ballon d'Or winner before Messi and Ronaldo came in and took over. So like people seem to forget how fucking good this guy was. He came in and he was in Ronaldo's shadow, and he got ridiculed for it. And
it's hard to believe. Like I know Ronaldo's a good player, but it's hard to believe Kaká. Like that name to me holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, like, it really does.
You talk about legends of the game, like. I would put him in that bracket, and to hear him being I know Cristiano Ronaldo is a legend; he is world class. To hear him shadowed by Kaká, or Kaká to be shadowed by him, is crazy to think, and like ridiculed as well. It's unbelievable, mate.
Yeah, and as I said, that problem is nearly always going to be there now because Real Madrid fans think, oh well, we had Ronaldo. You're a world class player, but you're not Ronaldo, and you never will be. So I think that's the issue a lot of them are going to have. But anyway, we'll move on from fucking Real Madrid. We're going to talk about the Europa League now. And Manchester United are through. We'll get into Arsenal in a minute because there's quite a lot I want to say about Arsenal. But Man United to face Villarreal in the final. Is it the 26th of May? I think it is.
Wednesday, so I think you're bang on, I think.
It's the 26th. Yeah, it's the week of the Champions League final as well. Yeah, I didn't watch United last night, but obviously the job was done after the first leg, a 6-2 win at Old Trafford. Yeah. And I watched a couple of the highlights after the game on Virgin Media. And from the looks of it, Roma really pushes under a lot of pressure, and only for some really good David De Gea saves. It could have been curtains.
Yeah, no, dead on, mate. Dead on, absolutely. I think myself and Dad had this worry beforehand. Obviously the job is done, but we knew and we felt like because that term, the job is done, was there from the first leg. A few players switch off, and Luke Shaw, who's been fantastic for us this season, was very, very poor last night, I thought. A couple of other players didn't have the best of games. I think Donny van de Beek was given a chance, and again, really didn't see too much from him. But I think what it did highlight, and I think it's a reminder to Ollie and a reminder to a lot of United fans of how important David De Gea is to us. Fair enough, he's made a couple of mistakes this season, but if it wasn't for his positioning and the reactions he has, Roma could have had two, and then it's a level game, and then we're fully on the back foot. We're fully in the mud. I think as well, the other thing I think I learned a lot about, especially from watching United this season, is the quality of strikers we had to choose from before Cavani was so poor. Because I remember thinking Anthony Martial and, I'd say maybe a stretch Rashford as well. They were our strikers at times, and they were good because they were quick. But when you actually watch Cavani's positional play, his intelligence and his movement in the box, and to always anticipate a second ball, that is something that is, really under. And I think Cavani for us has been one of our best players this season. But going back to what you were saying, I really think if it wasn't for David De Gea, we could have been in serious trouble last night. So much to say that the job was done in the first leg, it could have been undone, honestly, inside 45, 60 minutes, I think.
Yeah, and I like the point you made about Cavani as well. I think one of the number one priorities for Manchester United this summer should be to try and keep him. I know he's old, but if he gets it, he's had injury problems. There's been times where Ole hasn't even played him. And you kind of think if he had been in there all season and firing, who knows? Maybe Man United could have been even up challenging for the title. I know they're second, but they're not really in a title.
No.
So if you had a fully fit firing Cavani all season, you with Bruno Fernandes in behind him, you don't really know what could have been. So maybe I think the rumor is he wants to go back to South America, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think there was a lot of talk there that it was like a month or a couple of weeks ago that he, because obviously his contract running out at the end of the season, there's been no word on that. He wants to go back and I think finish his career in the South of America, like South America. But obviously, Ollie is trying to keep him, and I think he has to try and keep him. I think it has to be one more season at United. And I think what he was saying, Ollie, is he was saying to Cavani, basically, come back to Old Trafford when there's fans in the stadium, and if he scores the goals he's scoring now in front of fans, he'll be the reception he'll receive is class, and it only boosts his confidence and make him want to play more. In terms of if we were to lose Cavani, I would be very concerned because Martial hasn't played in a lot of games. In fairness, is Greenwood ready and really the striker? I know he's got a great strike of the ball and he is a good finisher, but is he ready to move into that striker role? Would you say he's as good as Cavani right now? Obviously not. So I think definitely looking from a fan point of view, Ollie has to make sure Cavani stays. Either that or have a very, very, very similar or very good replacement lined up. Because if we lose a striker of the quality of Cavani and you take away some of the goals he's got us at times, particularly in Europa League, we'd be in serious trouble.
Yeah, and it was a strange one when Cavani signed, I think, because at the time, I think we even said it on the podcast, when Cavani signed, I think the two of us were even this is a bit of a panic buy from Man United. An aging striker, let go by PSG. They must have let him go for a reason, was kind of what we were thinking of. And you look at him, and when he's been at his peak this season, he's been unplayable. And he's been just as good as he has been when he was in his prime. It'd make you question the decision from PSG to let him go. Kind of similar situation to Thiago Silva with us. It's like they let him go. Why? Because he's just as good. He's 35, 36, whatever he is. And Cavani isn't too far off that as well. But still quality world-class players. And you think where PSG might have been if they had them two. But yeah, I agree. I think Cavani should be number one priority to keep. I'm not even sure if Greenwood's a striker, if I'm being honest. When I've seen him play, I think he looks like a really good, talented winger, cutting in onto his left, to be honest. But yeah, Man United playing Villarreal. I would be looking at that final, man, and thinking it should be an easy win for Manchester United. What would be your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with you. Would I say easy? See, the problem I have with United is I can never tell if something's going to be easy for United. In something that should be easy, we make very difficult. And that is one of the big issues we've always had since, the age of Moisey and Gal. I did tune into the last few minutes of the Arsenal game, and they were saying very, very solid defensively, Villarreal. Now, obviously, Arsenal, we'll get into them in a minute, but they didn't apparently offer a whole lot for a team who needed to score to stay in the Europa League. But I just think that if we play at times, we've played our best football, we've looked decent and we've looked pretty good. And I think the 45 minutes in the first leg against Roma was a real eye opener into how good we can play when we are on it. You can say whatever you want. Roma aren't as good as they are. And they're not great. But I do think when the likes of Bruno, Greenwood, Pogba, all these top quality players are all firing on all cylinders, there's some lovely moves, there's some lovely passing. And I just think, likes of Cavani, who's, like you say, he's been unplayable at times. He just is fast for us at the minute. Give him a couple of chances, he's going to take them at the end of the day. Do I think it's going to be as easy? Like I said, I don't really know, mate. Like I said, closer to the time we might make a prediction for each of our teams. Just as it stands, we'll see what it is like, and we'll see if there's any injuries or anything like that. But currently, as it stands, I still would back United to win it. I would be nervous enough watching it.
But yeah, I think I agree with you. We'll have to make some predictions, I think, a little bit closer to the time to see who's available for both squads. Just to finish off on Man United before we move into Arsenal, right? Obviously, the weekend there was a massive protest at Old Trafford. involving Man United fans breaking into Old Trafford, raiding the pitch, and essentially getting Liverpool versus Man United called off. Obviously, the protest was against the owners, against the Glazers. What was your thoughts as a fan who wasn't there about them protests? What was your general thoughts on
it? So initially, with the video footage that we were given initially, without seeing it live on Sky Sports, because I only got sent a clip of the actual protest towards the I can't think of the name of it. The box end, like the CEO kind of gallery, chairman gallery.
Yeah.
I thought it was good to see. I'm not going to lie. It's good to see that, you know, just because it's allegedly called off, that people aren't just accepting that, you know, this is okay, and that the whole idea of it even going ahead was acceptable without consulting players, fans, or managers. What I do have an issue with, however, is that from other footage we saw, it looked more like, this is going to sound like such a boomer word, but more like hooligans who have been let into the stadium on the guise of, oh yeah, we're here to protest, and in truth have come just to get into Old Trafford and onto the pitch for free, knock the ball around for a bit. Some lad thought it'd be class to climb a net on top of the goal.
Fell off as well.
Yeah, fucking good enough for him. And that kind of shit, it was just real, like, disheartening to see, because it takes away from the point of what we're trying to make. And it just seems like that happens a lot with these kind of things. It's not a case of, you know, we're protesting because we want to get in and, you know, piss about. We're protesting because we want to essentially save sport in the country. Like, you know, we're trying to save our team from being a complete money grab, and from people at the top who obviously want to franchise football in England and across Europe. And I just thought it was disheartening to see. But overall, I think the idea behind it was good. The execution was poor.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. It started off well with being a peaceful protest and all that. And with these peaceful protests, you're always going to get a couple of twats that fucking ruin it for everyone. And, you know, I think that's what we've seen for the most part. The message was good, but the execution of it and the way it turned south very quickly is the problem that I'd have with it. But I think it's an eye-opener because, you know, Chelsea made a statement during the week then about basically we're introducing this new scheme where we're always going to have 3 or 4 fan representatives at every single board meeting from now on, without fail. So for me, that stops any threat of a Super League or the owners making a decision which the fans aren't happy with. And I think it's a great move by Chelsea. And I think that it's a move that should be made compulsory, I feel, to the rest of the top 6 in every club, to be honest, to have fan representatives there. Because at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's fans that know what's right for the club and not these Americans who don't even show up for half the bloody game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly like you're just saying there, mate. It's spot on. That's exactly how it should be done. 3, 4, 5 fan representatives, fans who have always been fans of Chelsea and care about the genuine, like, you know, prosperity of the club, not just affluently, but like in terms of competition. And, you know, you need to see that. Like you say, the question has always been there. You know, how is it that, you know, men in suits who only talk business know what's best for sports? That has been, you know, for a lot of clubs, has been fully fan oriented for so many years. And like you say, now is the time we have to put our foot down and say, you know what, no, we have to have decent fans in the boardroom. And the other thing we have to do is, well, we have to make sure that their voice is heard. It's not just a case of, you know, we're going to put these lads in, you're going to sit at the end of the table, you're not going to say anything. That's it. You know, you say something and, you know, they say they accept it and they'll look at it and it just gets swept under the rug. You know, we have to keep on top of that now that we've got, you know, a foot in the door in Chelsea. And I'd say it definitely should be implemented across all clubs in England if it hasn't been already. and we have to make sure that they take us seriously, because there's no point in us protesting. We're not protesting for the sake of protesting. We're protesting because we're passionate and we care about the club. So they have to, at some level, listen to us and listen to the fans and come to a decision that is best for the fans, the club in general, rather than just, like I say, the money side of it and how they can, guarantee European football every season for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully now that'll cause a bit of a domino effect, what Chelsea have done, and the rest of the clubs do that. One club that probably needs this done as much or maybe more than most is Arsenal Football Club. Now, Arsenal were in the other semi-final of the Europa League against Villarreal. Drew 0-0 on the night, having lost the first leg 2-1 away in Spain. All they needed to do was score a single goal and not concede, and they had done it. They couldn't do that. The game finished 0-0, and from what you were saying and from what I've heard a few match reports suggest, is that Arsenal, apart from hitting the post through Aubameyang a couple of times, didn't really look like they were that urgent or in need of a goal when they actually were. Like that club, it keeps reaching new lows. Do you know what I mean? And I think this, I heard DT on Arsenal Fan TV this morning talking about how this is worse than when they lost the Europa League final to Chelsea, and it's worse than when they lost 6-0 to Chelsea, or when they lost 8-2 to Man United, or where they lost 6-3 to Man City or 5-0 to Liverpool. All them humiliating results. He says this is the worst. They're currently 9th in the Premier League. This was their last chance really at getting a shot at winning something, first of all, but second of all, playing Champions League football next season. And now it doesn't really look like they're going to be playing in Europe at all. What was your thoughts, mate? I think it's unbelievable how much they continue to sink.
Yeah, exactly like you said. It is. You have to feel sorry. I know it's a rival club, but you do it some respect. You have to feel bad for the way that club has gone. It seems like every season is, like you say, just a new. Like they maybe get a couple of steps closer, but then fall down 3 or 4 steps. And I think, like they're saying last night, like DT was saying last night or this morning, it really is an embarrassing performance. Like you say, again, from what I heard, and like you were saying, there was very little, aggression or very little decent attacking football played. Now, apparently, credit to Villarreal, their 2 centre halves were phenomenal last night. They were very, very good. You just would think that in a semi-final where you need 1 goal, there should be enough quality at Arsenal Football Club to get more than. I think they only had 1 shot on target in the whole 90 minutes, which, I mean, it really does say a lot. And then Arteta as well took off their only player who had managed to get that shot on target. And it's bewildering at times. And it genuinely must be really, really frustrating. Like, I know people take the piss out of, Arsenal Fan TV a lot. But you can really see, and I think that game last night is a highlight for why it is so difficult to be an Arsenal fan, because that substitution, it should never have happened. Like, you can say, unless he is injured or unless he's seriously fatigued, that should not have happened. If anything, there should have been another striker put on alongside him. If anything. And I just think, like you're saying, mate, now they're not in Europe, it is a real question of now, where do Arsenal go from here? Is it a case of, do we finally say, look, Arteta has to go? He hasn't got the experience. He hasn't got the managerial strength. Yes, he's worked under Pep Guardiola, but he obviously was never pulling the strings. And when he was finally given the chance to, it hasn't gone according to plan for them. And 9th in the table as well is very, very poor from Arsenal. So I think personally for me, I think maybe next season should be the season where Arsenal have a real long look at themselves and think it may be time to I don't want to use the term like clean or cleanse, but like if there's no European football, is it a time to say, right, we need to maybe get rid of some players, try and bring some new blood in, so maybe younger players. Like there's positives at Arsenal, and like some young talent like Saka, Smith Rowe or Rowe Smith. Like there's positives there. I mean, I think isn't Joe Willock an Arsenal?
Yeah, he's on loan at Newcastle, and he's done all right for himself.
He's done well. Like there's positives there, but you just think to yourself, is it a case of now do Arsenal need to just have a season where it's about working on the club and the team rather than so much focusing on Europe and domestic? Because obviously now it's very unlikely they will get Europe next season. Even never mind qualify this season. Yeah,
like I do agree with that point. Like that, it's a club that needs to be just cleansed from the top down. Like it's as DT said it again. I'm going to keep quoting DT because he made some really good points. But he said like it's rotten to the core, and from the ownership to the manager to the players. Like Mikel Arteta as an appointment at the time, I kind of went, really? Like he puts out the cones for Pep. Do you know what I mean? Like that's who he is. Not like realistically, that's what he does. That's what he did beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No matter, like even when Frank came to Chelsea, I was excited because it's Frank. But at the same time, I was like, this could go tits up. Like he has no experience. Like he's managed one season with Derby County, and ultimately it did. And Chelsea got rid of him. And look where we are now. We're in a Champions League final. Like, I don't see how Arteta has lasted as long in this job as he has. Yes, he's been shadowing Pep Guardiola since he's come into Man City, who've been an incredible team. But that doesn't give him the right to be given a manager. Like Arsenal Football Club is huge. Absolutely huge. And when you have managers out there like Massimiliano Allegri and people like that haven't been in a job for a long, long time, available, and you go for Mikel Arteta. And what I found is the most laughable thing: the manager of Villarreal is none other than good evening himself, Unai Emery. So like it gets worse. It gets even worse. Like it's unbelievable. And you alluded to that decision he made to take off Aubameyang, and he brought on Willian. Like I loved Willian when he was at Chelsea, but like in the last year or two, 2.5 years nearly that he was at Chelsea, he was past it, bro. And Arsenal brought him in, put him on a 250 grand a week or something like that contract, and he's not scored a goal yet. And Arteta brings him on when Arsenal need a goal the most. It's it's laughable. It really is laughable.
It is, man. And look, like you say, I think you alluded to the area yourself. Like giving Arteta the job of Arsenal. Like Arsenal is a massive club. It's a big step up for someone like say who puts out the cones for Pep. But not even that, but like the size of the project that needs to be done at Arsenal, like to give it to a manager who has very little experience. Like Arsenal, realistically, they're considered to be a top 6 in England, right? And that is, you would call them in that bracket now. Whether that surely will be changed, and along with Tottenham as well, I think people are calling for a review of that title. But like, they need to be getting Champions League football realistically, consistently. That's what they need to be, or at least finishing in that top 6 bracket. And I think that was the project that they're trying to go with now, and they're trying to rebuild, obviously, and get back to Arsenal, but like so many other clubs are doing. And to give that job to a man who has, like you say, no experience really in first team management. Like, and you can say all you want. You can say, oh, we're just passionate about the club. He's an ex-player. He loves Arsenal. He lives and breathes Arsenal. Mate, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter squat. If you're taking off your star man who's hit the post for you. He's been your only attacking threat to bring on Willian, who, no offense, like you say, hasn't scored in a considerable amount of time. You really are making a rod for your back. Like,
it is awful. Like, that situation is just, it's fucked from the top down. It's awful, and they just need a clear out. And I had a bit of a thought there, like, you know, they're not going to be. Let's be honest, they're not going to be in Europe. They're not even going to have Europa League next season. And
not even Conference League if it goes ahead.
Yeah, like some people will say, you know, that's a blessing in disguise because Chelsea didn't get Europa League, didn't finish in Europe in 2015-16, and we went on to win the league the following year. But here's the thing, here's the difference, is that Chelsea were still able to attract big players because we'd won the league the season before, we finished 10th, and then we went on to win the league the season after. That season, we finished 10th. That summer, we brought in N'Golo Kante, we brought in David Luiz, we brought in Marcus Alonso. Yeah? Solid fucking Michy Batshuayi as well. That was a solid transfer window. We also brought in a manager. We changed our manager midway through the season. We got rid of Mourinho. We brought in Hiddink for the rest of the season. And then in the summer, Antonio Conte came in and he wins the league. Chelsea could still attract that quality of player. What quality player is going to look at Arsenal right now and say, that is a project I want to invest in? They have a manager who, as we said, put out the call for Pep, is not a fucking experienced head at all. And there's nothing to look forward to there. And like the likes of the Martin Odegaard on loan, is he going to want to come back? Probably not. If we're being honest. No. And if he does, he realistically has no ambition as a player because like he'd be going back to Real Madrid, who are struggling themselves. He could come in and be the fucking man. You know, that changes that at Real Madrid. And if he was to, like, there's no way he'd want to come back to Arsenal, surely. Like, you think of some of the top young talents in the world right now, like your Mbappes, your Haalands, your fucking Sancho. Like, is a player of that quality going to want to come to Arsenal? Absolutely not.
And I think you're bang on there, mate. I think that is the real issue that Arsenal are going to face, because, like you said, there's going to be very few. Now, again, it depends on how good Arsenal's scouting network is, because unless you found a young talent in a lower division somewhere in maybe one of the big countries in Europe, you could maybe argue and say there is a small bit of an appeal there. But like you say, how much weight does the name Arsenal carry nowadays? It certainly has gone down a lot. And like you say, it could be a case where Arsenal have to look at maybe the Championship and just try and attract some young players there. Again, it's always a risky move because, you know, a step up from the Championship to the Premier League is always big. And at a club like Arsenal, there'll be a lot expected of him. But like you say, mate, it's going to be very, very difficult start rebuilding, especially next season when there's very little to fight for. I know what you're saying about Chelsea and winning the league. And like you say, Arsenal, realistically, they don't have the quality that Chelsea have. And even if they could bring in a few players in the transfer window, like you say, it's not going to be the quality that they need to get them closer. But I think the first thing they need to do before they do anything else, before they even can think about those other headaches, is they have to sack Arteta. They have to find a manager. Now, again, how much attraction is there to Arsenal right now? But it has to be the first thing they do, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that thing as well of they sack Arteta, there's still lots of issues there, like a poor squad, like some decent young players in there, like you said, like Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, then you have others like Tierney, good player as well. There's still a lot of deadwood there that needs to be moved out, and then the issue comes with the ownership. Stan Kroenke, you know, he's not like, there's talks that the Spotify owner, what's his name, Elk or something like that, is thinking about buying Arsenal, and a couple of former players, Henry, Vieira, Bergkamp, thinking about buying shares in it. Like, that's a thing that needs to go through as well, because excuse me, I think as long as Stan is, you know, the owner of Arsenal, I think there's always going to be a limit there to how far they can go, because there's only going to be a certain amount of money that he's going to want to spend. And I think when they do bring in a new manager, they need someone who's going to rebel against the board as well. Like, not someone like Arteta, he is a bit of a yes man, if we're being honest. Like, he is. We're absolutely digging into Mikel Arteta here on ShiteTalk.
We really are.
But like, sometimes it has to be done. But they need someone who's going to be like, right, I need this, and if you don't give me this, I'm going to walk. Like, you remember Rafa Benitez fucked off from Newcastle because he wasn't getting the fucking money that, like, Mike Ashley wasn't giving him money for transfer.
Jesus, yeah.
Like, they need someone like that, maybe even Rafa himself, that will come in and say, right, this is what I want, and if you don't give me that, I'm gone. Simple as. They need someone with that tone of authority, and I just can't see Arteta having that at all, to be honest. But yeah, it's fucked. Arsenal fans, I really do feel sorry for you at this point. Cause like, at first I kind of laughed, but it's just
when you
sad.
delve into it, you do realize like it is actually a very different situation.
Yeah, it is fucked. I had one more topic down for today, mate, and to be honest, I'm looking at it right now and I'm thinking it's a bit of a shit one. It's involving that dickhead Jake Paul again.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up. Yeah, so
we won't spend too long on this.
Nah, but I think we can both agree. I assume it's to do with the Mayweather clip, is it?
Yeah, the one where he's like, "Got your hair."
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, his brother is fighting Mayweather in an exhibition event, as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
Credit to Jake Paul. He's won a fight recently. You know, he beat your man. Whatever people want to say, whether it was scripted or not, or whether your man did it for the money, it didn't really train properly. You know, you can say everything under the sun. He's won the fight. That's the be all and end all of it. His brother now, in an exhibition match, comes up and decides the best thing to do before the exhibition match is to go up to Floyd and say, you know what, I'm going to nick your hat and try and run away. And not only is it stupid, because obviously Floyd Mayweather is going to deck you, what made me laugh the most is he thought he could run away in the middle of a crowd of people. He tries to run through a crowd of media people who instantly, and he literally he tries to run, and in about 2 seconds, he realizes he can't go anywhere. And Floyd has him straight away on the floor. Fucking, we can't see what he's doing. But allegedly now, and this is only allegedly, Jake Paul has been left with a black eye.
Yeah, and a bloody nose, apparently.
Yeah, so
Floyd absolutely flopped him.
I mean, look, Floyd Mayweather may be the man to do it. If he is the man to do it, we'd be very happy to see it. Obviously, fights Logan. I can see the way the fucking YouTube and these two Paul boys are going, probably will be a Jake Paul Floyd Mayweather fight. Maybe there will, maybe there won't. But look, I think it was very satisfying to see Jake Paul with a bloody nose and a black eye for being a dickhead, who, after many years of being a dickhead, someone finally said, fuck it, or got the chance to say, fuck it, and decked him. So I think we can all agree, Floyd Mayweather, if you ever watch the ShiteTalk podcast in your days of browsing YouTube, you've smashed it, mate. You have the world behind you. Finish the job.
Yeah, finish the job. It's like we're setting him up for murder or something. Just to clarify, we're not
incentivizing that. No, we don't. Yeah, we're not implying that. We just mean hit him another slap.
Fun fact, actually, Floyd Mayweather joins Deji with the only two people to give Jake Paul a bloody nose. So there you go.
Look, we've always said it, lads. Deji is the next Floyd Mayweather. He's got these hands, he's got the training, he's got the body. He is going to be 50-0 or 50-1 in a couple of years' time. Watch this space. Deji Olatunji is going to be class, boys and girls.
Yeah, but I think overall it was just childish from Jake, and you expect it from Jake at this point, and I think a lot of it was down to him just trying to steal Logan's spotlight, because that's Geezer's Logan's fighting. It was very much a case of, okay, yeah, I'm going to take this off you now because I'm Jake Paul and I am a dickhead. Like, that was...
Yeah, and that's the thing about Jake Paul. That is the only thing he's associated with. And I said this to Dad earlier when he told me about it. He was saying, did you see it this morning? I said, he's just associated with being a dickhead, and that is who he is. And like you say, taken away from Logan's spotlight. I fully agree with you on that, mate, because the second the media were around, Jake Paul hasn't said too much as far as I'm aware to Floyd Mayweather. The second the media is there and there's a bit of a spotlight on him, we go straight over and try and nick his hat. And, we got away with it so many times being a dickhead publicly to fighters. And now he's finally got his just desserts. I don't think that will stop him, if I'm being honest.
No.
That is, like I say, that is who he is. That's his only personality, it seems, is to be a dickhead. But like you say, it's so childish, and it's annoying because we do expect it now from him. It's just like we're counting down the days until this man will be no longer here and off social media for a while.
Yeah, he needs to be fucking knocked back a couple of pegs, man. Because like everywhere I look, even like mainstream media articles now are just Jake Paul did this, Jake Paul did that, and it's like I'm sick of hearing of this Donny. Just like
he's got to go, mate. He has to, like you say, he has to be knocked down a peg, and he has to then take a break from social media or ban from some social medias, because, like you say, it is just so jarring to hear about him so often. And the worst part is, this is exactly what he wants. He knows what he's doing when he's doing it, because he knows all these media articles. When you see the name Jake Paul, it's always associated with controversy. People are always going to read it or hear about it or see it or get the views. So he knows what he's doing here. He knows what he's doing. And it's annoying because he's so fucking good at getting that attention on him for all the wrong reasons.
Well, look at it. Here's us talking about him again. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's what I'm saying, mate. It's unavoidable because he's that much of a dickhead.
Like it's. I agree. I think he doesn't want to be seen. Like, he doesn't care what way the public view him. Like, all publicity is good publicity in his eyes. It's that classic phrase. And he just wants to keep growing and keep earning more money and inflating himself by being a bit of a prick. And he's doing it. Like, here we are again, like 2 or 3 podcasts in a row talking about that prick Jake Paul and what he's done now. Like, I'm sure in 2 weeks' time, we could be back in person talking about conspiracy theories, and Jake Paul would have done something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the way he works. It's like every week, it's like, right, what fucking scandal am I going to have this week?
And like you say, mate, that is just it. It is a case of what scandal am I going to get myself into? Like you say, he is a bit of a blight on social media and mainstream media now, unfortunately. And like you say, unfortunately, he will not be talked about unless he does step away. Then people may, obviously his appeal will go down, but it's going to take something big for us to stop talking about Jake Paul, unfortunately, and it's going to take a lot for him to not be involved in a scandal week in, week out.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Right. Well, I think we might wrap it up there, lads. We fucking hell, we can't avoid this dickhead. But yeah, it's newsworthy. This is a podcast where we talk about the big news headlines from the last week, and unfortunately, Jake Paul just seems to keep fucking cropping up on it. But yeah, maybe we'll have a Jake Paul conspiracy in our next episode. Like, oh yeah, this is what he wants to do. This is what he wants. But
controlling us.
He's trolling us. Unless you have anything else to add, mate, I think I might wrap it up there.
No, I have nothing really major to add other than the fact that lads and girls, if you want to get onto Chip Shop Curry socials and just,
at the
throw the ShiteTalk podcast in there, if you are watching any representatives of Chip Shop Curry or Chef Chip Shop Curry, look, lads, we're open for discussions. We'll be very interested, and we are more than happy to eat some curry chips on the podcast live or in person, which hopefully we will be doing from next week on. So there's never been a better time to get involved with the ShiteTalk podcast.
There you go, lads. Chef, if you're watching this, lads, links in the description to our social medias. Actually, I forgot to log in. I've got a new phone. I forgot to log into the ShiteTalk Twitter, so I'm gonna have to try and get that back.
Oh no! Oh no!
I don't know what's gonna happen. But I was gonna post a meme on there this morning, but I got logged out. So Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm gonna have to try and find the login for that again. But
Lovely.
yeah, our Instagram is still very much live, lads. Go check that out.
Yeah.
Actually, before we go, I put up a story on the ShiteTalk. I don't know why I put it up on the ShiteTalk Instagram because it doesn't have as many followers as my own Instagram. So the chances of us getting any responses is very slim. Did we get anything? We actually did get one.
No way.
We actually did get one. And
Wait.
it's something we talked about last week. Hang on, I'm going to plug in my phone because it is about to die. Hang on. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. Yeah, the thing we got there was something we mentioned at the end of one of the last episodes was religion. And it's probably a bit late into the podcast to start talking about that now, if we're being honest. I probably should have checked this earlier, but yeah, I think we might save that for the episode in 2 weeks' time because once we start talking about this stuff, mate, it's gonna drag on a bit, and we're probably close enough to an hour and a half in now at this point, anyway. So yeah, we won't dive into that now, but we'll dive into it maybe in the conspiracy theories episode. So stick around for that. We're gonna wrap it up here, lads. League of Light. Wow. League of Light. I said League and like.
League and like.
Fucking brilliant. That should be your new catchphrase. Leave a like, lads, if you did enjoy. Also, subscribe to the two of us. Links in the description. Follow us on Twitter if I can get back on there. That'd be great. And our Instagram as well. And subscribe to the channel if you're new with your notifications on. And yeah, thank you for a great first 20 episodes of ShiteTalk, lads. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Take care and good luck.